Good afternoon, everyone. Dan Goya here, Hypnocafe podcast and magazine. So we're on. I'm live. It's just me and my buddy Frank. As you can see, we're here in the studio today. And as you could probably guess, I've changed the camera angle. Yeah. Some of the guys had mentioned it. As, oh, Dan, you're kind of having some trouble staying on camera. So we were like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So I changed the camera angle. But hey, my good buddy Frank T-Rex and I are always here. And today we're going to be talking with Angela Ernst. She's in the waiting room. I hope I said that name right. So without any further ado, we're going to bring her in to the stream. Here we go, guys. 3, 2, 1. There she is.
Hello.
So, hello. How are you today?
I have a little cold, but I'm doing well. I have a little bit of a cold coming on. But doing good.
Awesome. So yeah, I had something the other day, a little cough in my throat, and then it just disappeared. And I thought, well, I'm just getting to that age where I'm probably going to start everything with the eloquent. So, how are you doing today? I'm going to be 54 coming up this summer. So I'm not sure where the time went, but there it is. I've built up so much speed. I'm going to hit 60 soon. But that's a beautiful.
Fast.
It does, doesn't it? So just trying to make sure that we are live on our Facebook feed here. So there we are. And we are live. I wanted to make sure. So because it's live, I'm doing the Be Live. And I'm not sure, Angela, if I'm going to stick with this or if I'm going to go back to the Zoom where I was recording and editing everything out. But Grant's like, oh, Dan, try the Be Live. I think you'll have much more success with it.
Yeah.
And early on, it was a flaming train wreck.
Oh, no.
But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for hopping on, even though that we got the time wrong. I forget Central Time sometimes where I'm at. And I'm always thinking that everybody's Eastern, and they're not. Yeah. So
I'm from Minnesota. We're Central Time.
Yes. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, Minnesota. Yeah, that's Eastern. Yeah, she should be fine. No, it's not. So I'm going to try and put the link up here and tell me if this is correct. Send that to there. All right. Oh, wait. So let's paste it and then send it. See if it shows up. Hello, Paula. See if it shows up. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. I was trying to put the link for your book up there.
Oh, yeah.
I did. Yeah. Yep. It's in the comment section so people can see the link for Angela's book. And you are the founder of, I want to say, Resource Therapy on your website there. So, all right. And Angela and I first met years and years and years and years ago. She's much younger than I am.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. Shh. It's a
okay.
At I think it was Heartland Hypnosis. Yeah,
I love Heartland. Heartland is amazing. They're so friendly. That was my first conference.
Yeah, it was the first time I was out there. I actually put in to present out there this year. I haven't been just because my schedule had not allowed it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, I should probably go back out there and see what's going on with that. So, but we're going to talk about everything today, just a casual conversation. We're going to cover, how you got started, how you're going, what your niche is, if anything, and all that good stuff. So I think we should start. And when did you get started in hypnotherapy?
So I actually was studying psychology. And we had a really amazing professor that said she wanted us to write a paper on a different healing modality and you can either be pro or con for it. And I actually chose hypnosis and I was con. So I didn't believe it. I had, my one show that was at a high school and I was like, that can't be real. That's baloney. And of course, what you see on TV, right? That was my idea of what hypnosis was. And I, like my grandfather used to say, it's a lot of hullabaloo, right? That's what I thought it was. So I actually went to a seminar on hypnosis. They asked if there's any volunteers, anybody doesn't agree with it. I'm like, I don't agree with it. I don't think it's real. And I went down and I went quick and they brought me back to one of my happiest memories, which was my honeymoon with my husband. And I swear I could feel the sun on my face. I could feel his hand in my hand. It felt so real to me that I was like, if you can do this in 2 minutes and make me feel this joy and this happiness and this love, what else can you do? And I just changed immediately from there. I mean, it took a little time, but then I actually went to a different, whole different, change everything from psychology to hypnotherapy, and still study some psychology and things like that. But I was just blown away. I was just like, this was so fast. This was so amazing.
So, yeah, I was the opposite. Well, no, I was the same. I had gone to Kirkland Community College. I was getting ready to think about getting out of my career as a fire medic. And they said, hey, come be a licensed or a limited license practitioner. I'm having a rutabaga moment, so bear with me. Counselor, I call it a rutabaga moment because I turn into a vegetable. I lose my mind. So I've been hit in the head too many times. That's what it is. And I went out there and I signed up for the course, and they said, go take this hypnosis class. You're going to use it. And I thought it was like, okay, a weekend, whatever I can spend. It was like 10 months or something. It was ridiculous. It was a long course. And by the time I got back there, they said, oh, no, the course is gone. We're not doing that. So I'm like, all right. So here we go. Hypnosis. Let's see what this does. So, and Paula says, those are roots. I highlight. Come on now. No. So I keep telling people I'm just having my hair lightly frosted as time goes by. That's what it is. So, and what was your first client? Do you remember your first client?
Yeah, well, actually, so I went to a school where they taught hypnosis, therapeutic coaching, cognitive behavioral therapy, body language. And so we had to do case studies. It was actually for 4 years and we had to do case studies.
Wow.
And some of the case studies were where your teacher watches you, which by the way, just makes you sweat. And then the other ones were like, you do on your own. And my case studies actually turned out to be my first clients. So yeah, so my clients, I went the different route. A lot of my colleagues in school decided to do friends and family members, and I was like, I don't want that. I want to go and just really try and not know this person and just try to help them. And so I did that. A few people from like my high school came out of the woodworks and were like, I want to try it. I was like, okay, come on in. But then most of the people were complete strangers. And what's fun is that a lot of those clients, they still check in with me today. And that was over 10 years ago. They'll still send me like a message, like I'm still doing good. Or some of them will still come back and be like, hey, something else came up in my life. Can I come in? So yeah,
awesome.
that was my first runaround was my case studies. And they had to like write into our teachers, and our teachers had to evaluate it and talk to them and all that kind of stuff. So it was interesting and fun and nerve-wracking.
All right. I think we should ask the audience what they think of that. Audience, what do you guys think? They love it. Thank you for that seated ovation. It's more than we deserve, really. Yeah, my first client was not a case study. It was one of my firefighters. He wanted to quit smoking, had no money. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I said, okay, come on over. And he goes, well, I can't pay you, but my wife can make you 12 chocolate chunk cookies.
Oh,
and if you knew, yeah, I was totally in. I'm like, this woman's chocolate chunk cookies were amazing. A lot of people have given me grief over that. Like, you took cookies and my chair just rocked way back on me. Did you see that? That was almost history.
Nobody saw it.
Oh yeah, I caught it. But yeah, that was my first go around. And yeah, so you are also an author, which kills me. Because I'm not a great writer.
I'm not. I wouldn't classify myself as an author. I actually just put together a journal when COVID hit. Because I saw clients in my office in Minnesota, we shut down for a long time, and then I was bored out of my mind because I couldn't see clients and I hadn't gone digital yet. So I actually put together during COVID. I had so many clients reach out to me and be like, can you give me some new journal questions? I'm really having a time reflecting. I'm really having a hard time figuring this out or that. So I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And I just put together this big booklet and I sent it to my clients. And one of my clients emailed me, goes, you should put this in a book so that people can purchase this journal and just start to be reflective on their own. Because as we all know, the first step to healing is realizing that there's an issue and that there's a problem. And sometimes, you know, I don't know if you've had this with your clients, they come in and they don't know. They know something's wrong, like they feel something's wrong, but they don't know what it is. You know
Yes.
what I mean? So this
Yeah.
journal was kind of put together specifically just to kind of like help you figure out different areas of your life that you didn't even know that this was the root cause of some of your issues.
Excellent. Yeah, I used to tell my clients that I narrowed mine down to the fire service from the frontline workers, but when they was I don't know, my response was always somewhat verbiage. I would kind of go like, well, you know what? I don't know is fine because it sets us on our path to discovery. And I
Yeah.
just thought to myself, what a load of verbiage, Dan. But I used it. I think we all use it. It was
Yeah.
something I got from one of my psychology professors at the time when I was going through those classes. And here's a funny thing you'll probably laugh at. One of my psychology professors said, "Whatever the brain, whatever the mind can convince itself of, the body will naturally follow too."
Mhm.
And I said, "Well, I don't think that's true because in my mind, I'm married to Gal Gadot, and my body hasn't done anything about it; just hasn't moved at all." And he's like, "Get out."
It's just taking a
But
really long time for you to get
a
there.
long
That's
time.
all.
It is, it is. I've gotta learn Israeli first, is one of the
Mhm.
things. But, so how long did you set up your website or did you have someone do it for you? Let's talk about that for a minute.
I did all that myself. I did everything
Wow.
myself. I'm kind of the type of person who likes to just put everything together. And actually, like, if you'll see one of my pages I'm building right now is when I first started my business, I don't know about you, but I was like, there was no help and no resources for like, you know, a new client intake form, a contract, you know, worksheets to give your clients in between sessions to help them. There was nothing out there then. And one of the pages I'm developing now is I want to help other hypnotists and coaches and therapeutic practitioners with like welcome packets, worksheets. I have like anxiety worksheets. I have depression worksheets. I have everything that you can think of that you would use in your practice to make your practice not only seem more professional, but actually help your clients in between sessions. I'm putting all those templates together so that other hypnotists can take it, put their feel on it, easily editable, and
Oh,
then just use it. Yeah.
no, that's great.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, I used, what was it? The PRQ49H form.
Mhm.
And it was like the 4 questions and you had the score at the end, and I
Yeah.
kinda stopped using that, after a while because it didn't really reflect what the client had going on in front of me. It was you were trapped in those
Yeah.
questions, I thought. So, that is amazing. Yeah, that would be great. I can't wait to see that because, the intake form I originally used was from the Michigan Hypnosis Institute that I went to, and then I tried
Mhm.
using the National Guild one. I
Mhm.
eventually did build one myself, but they again, the one was like that. So
Yeah.
I'm like, "What are you doing?" And then the Guild one was like a page, so it didn't really fit to anything, and you're right, there wasn't. It was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I took this class, and this guy gave me a form, but,
Mhm.
he made it 30 years ago per se," and he did really. It was very old.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that'll be great, and that's something you're gonna have on your website, or you're gonna be
Yeah, it's my
yeah.
my bundle package is already on my website, and that
Hmm,
includes like it's over 500 pages of resources
wow.
that with all these links, and each one it's all nice and organized. So like, say you want to welcome on a new client, it's a welcome packet. It has everything that you need, and all you have to do literally is copy and paste and put your own information in it, and change your brand colors to whatever your brand colors are. It even comes with actually, if you don't even know what brand colors are, or you don't know how to brand yourself. It comes with like a little free workbook of like, how do I make a name for myself and how do I solidify it all across all my platforms and things like that. So yeah,
So
if I would have had this when I was starting, it would have been so much easier instead of like constantly trying to figure everything out on my own. I look back at that time and I was like, oh my God, that was so stressful.
yes, you know what? Harry Price and I were just talking about that the other day. Is that the programs seem to be great for teaching you how to do hypnosis and hypnotherapy, but then
Hmm.
there's like, like, okay, here's 2 hours, and I'm going to show you how to run a business,
Hmm.
and you get out, or a hypnosis business, and you get out there and you realize that 2 hours was not nearly enough. because you
Yeah.
don't know what you're doing. And I didn't
Yeah.
either. I had a small office in my house, and I think the first 2 years I saw a total of maybe 60 clients in 2 years.
Mhm. Yeah.
So just because I was not sure what was going to go on with it. But the
Yeah.
reason I asked about your website looks great.
Thank you.
Generally when I put together a website, it looks like there's been hand-to-hand combat that's been going on. So,
That's not true.
but yeah, the other one I just did put one together, the new one for the guild, and that one came out fine because I got rid of GoDaddy. I was with
Mm.
GoDaddy forever, and I
Yeah.
don't know if you know about. Obviously, everybody knows about them.
Yeah.
Years ago, they were great.
Yeah.
It was, and then just recently in the last 3 to 4 years, there's just been a lot of stuff that hasn't been so great, or in my opinion. And
Yeah.
that's only my disclaimer, guys. This is my opinion based on my experience with this. And I'm not saying that, da, 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 da. But yeah, so I switched over to, I think I went over to Wix
Yeah.
because for me, it has to be like Facebook, to put it together because I'm not as organized as you are. And yeah, that's one thing. I looked at your website and like, man, Angela is really organized. She has got this set. She knows what she's doing.
I actually used Wix, so
Oh,
but
did you?
I did, but I didn't use their templates or anything like that. I did everything on my own. I created it from scratch 10 years ago and constantly I actually update my website probably once every 6 months because you have to because Google is ever changing constantly what they're looking for and their meta tags and all that kind of stuff. So
Yes.
the more that you yourself update your stuff and your SEOs and things like that, the more likely people are going to find you. So that's like I constantly go in, and I think that's the hardest part about being a small business owner when you only have just you. You have to do everything.
Yes. I lucked out because I have Heather, who is now my
Mhm.
business partner, and she
Awesome.
kind of helps me out with that. So that I got lucky there. She looked at one of my websites years ago and went, "What language are you using?" Dear God, man.
Yeah.
So because I tend to write like I talk, and that
Mm,
doesn't always work so well. But
yeah.
so yeah.
Well, they're saying the projections is that soon people won't need websites at all. Everything's going social media bound. How people find you now is no longer via your website. They want to see you on social media. They want to see you on TikTok. They want to see you on YouTube. They want to get to know you here with your face. They don't like the website is not what drives sales anymore, unless you like are selling an actual product.
So yeah, remember that you use social. Everything was driven to the website,
Yeah.
and now you're right. It's kind of Grant and I were talking about that. It's reversed. The web, everything drives back to your social media.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do not have a TikTok page because I can't dance. So
You know what? I thought that's what TikTok was like. I really did. I actually I had 2 pages. One page was business and one was personal. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
my business one, I actually got hacked, and so I had to shut it down. I had tons of followers, and I had to
Oh my
shut it
God.
down, which was horrible because somebody started posting things, and I couldn't get back in. I tried reaching out to TikTok, and unfortunately, didn't go anywhere. But so then I'm restarting all over from scratch on TikTok, but this time uh, I'm doing it approaching different. I'm sharing my personal life and I'm sharing my business life too. So I'll do
Paula
I
says
will
she'll teach you about TikTok.
yeah. It's fun though. Like I have learned, like I'm literally making a recipe later tonight that I learned on TikTok. Like I love TikTok. It has everything that you can think of. And in the most recent study was like that actually TikTok is beating Google when it comes to search engines.
So yeah, Google has gotten a little odd.
Mhm.
And one of the things I've noticed is that it won't scan the big files anymore.
No.
I just sent some recordings over to Linda Thunberg. She had the great NATH conference. I went out there. We did some recordings. I emailed them to her, and she's like, "Ah, it won't scan them, and I don't know if it's going to be nervous." And I'm thinking, well, why did they stop? You know what I mean? It's like it didn't matter how big the file was; you could just
Yeah.
download it.
That's because they want you
So,
to buy Workforce. They want you to buy their Google Workforce.
oh, is it?
Yeah, I mean, that's my personal theory is that they want you to start paying for their Google Workforce, because they don't want to have to give things away for free anymore. But
So yeah,
that's my theory.
yeah, and I disagree with that. I'll tell you because we're already paying enough for things, aren't we?
Yeah.
So Yeah. I remember you didn't have to pay for Microsoft. You just got it on your computer.
Yeah.
Now it's like $6 a month or whatever it is now,
Yeah.
and you have to have it as a small business owner,
Mhm.
um, or as I present, so I need the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And I tried Prezi for a while, and I tried a
Mhm.
couple other things, but I went back to PowerPoint because Prezi wasn't that great,
Yeah.
uh, per se.
I
So, but
I
yeah.
actually, for my business, use Office 365, and I love it because not only does it give me a secure place to, like, because I have to keep notes on my clients, and you can lock them up, you know what I mean? Because you have to have in state of Minnesota, you have to have all your documentation and everything has to be under 2 locks. So I'm able to
Oh.
lock it there and then lock it in my office. And then there's, like, all the other things that come with it, including like doing like what we're doing right now that comes with it with Teams, and you can invite as many people as you want into it.
Oh, I didn't this has Teams. The Be Live just put that up. So it
Yeah.
has but they're only 5 people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can only get 5. I don't know what that's about, but
No.
okay. So yeah, I too have the 365, but I
Mhm.
didn't know that you could lock it up. I did not know that. You learn
Yeah,
something new every day.
it's in your notes app. So there's the notes app, and they're really helpful. Like because you just have it, you have the client's name on the top, and then you password protect it, and then each session you can track what it is that you're doing, and you can plan what you're doing with each session.
Oh, that would be great because I
Yeah.
take client notes the old-fashioned way. I write them down.
I tend
I
to do
used
the
to
same, yeah.
use Yeah, I used to use UpDocs for a
Mhm.
while, about 3 years, I used that because you could do client notes on that, and it had a form, and I could do that, and then they booted me because they're
Mhm.
like, "Well, you're not a psychologist." They booted me, apparently, so I'm like, "Well, thanks,
Yeah.
guys." That's not
Well,
very nice of you.
also, I feel like in the United States specifically, and anybody who practices and I have a couple of friends who practice. Actually, I have a good friend who practices in hypnotherapy in Germany. I feel like United States as a whole needs to embrace therapeutic coaching and hypnosis, because in other countries it's welcomed as a natural way to heal your mind and your body, and it's the same as going to a chiropractor, right? But
Yeah,
here in the
yes.
US, we're so constraint with those kind of things, and we also we tend to medicate people, and there's nothing wrong with medication. It works for a lot of people, but some people don't want that, and they want to try something different.
Yeah, I am not anti-medication either.
Mhm.
I have never dumped a box kittens on anyone having a heart attack, but I gotta draw the line at, "You have restless leg syndrome? You must take our pill." I'm like, seriously, like you invent the thing and then there's a pill for it. I don't understand.
Yeah.
But, yes, but anyways, getting away from that mean subject, do you have a favorite induction?
I probably sounds funny, but yeah, I do. It's a busy mall induction. So I equate
Oh.
your mind being like a mall that is on, Black Friday. It's so busy, it's so crazy, and you want to get away from that noise. So you take the escalator down, and the next level is just a little bit quieter, and the lines aren't so busy, and people aren't, jamming into each other, and there's not a lot of shouting, but you're still not quite there yet. And you keep on going down and down and down the escalator till you find that peace you've been looking for, and the music starts to play, and spa-like feeling, all those lovely suggestions. That's probably my favorite. Probably
So
because I go to the Mall of America, and the Mall of America is like so busy all the time. That's what made me think of it.
That's cool. I've never thought of that, the escalator, going down the escalator. So
Yeah.
that would be very cool. So yeah,
What about
I
you?
don't think I created one by accident,
Okay.
and I use it a lot. We had I had clients coming in one day, and I would either go between the Elman eye lock and progressive relaxation or something else. But this day, I'm like, okay, I'm not. I started doing the Elman, and then all of a sudden in my head, I'm like, what are you doing? You've got the Elman eye lock in your progressive relaxation. Stop doing that. And I'm having
Yeah.
this little argument with myself in my head, but I kept going. And so I mixed the two together into one,
Mhm.
and it takes them down through that. And I stopped saying subconscious mind a lot,
Mm. Okay.
and I sort of incorporated, mind, your entire mind.
Yeah.
Um, and it began to work, and the clients began to jive with it because they're firefighters and they don't really know about the subconscious mind, but they like levels.
Yeah.
And I couldn't just, with those guys, I couldn't just do a progress. I had to do a count because there had to be a step and a protocol, and then there's this. Whereas with other clients, you can just go and you feel relaxed, and you don't have to do the general count.
Mhm.
Because it feels like, well, this is my first day in hypnosis, 10, 9. So, but they like it. So, yeah, that, I guess that's my favorite. It's half progressive and half Elman eye lock. I
Mhm.
put it together, and it's my own little jumbled mess of hypnosis, if you will, per
Yeah.
se.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because it's like, you know, you have clients. I don't know if you experience this with clients in your office. And I'd have a client that first started off and said, like, I don't know if hypnosis will work for me on their first session. And then when they wake up from it, they're like, it didn't work or something, or I don't know if I feel any different. And I'm like, and it's 40 minutes later, and they're like, what? How did,
Yeah.
how is it 40 minutes later? And then the next time they come in, because you give them that lovely suggestion that each time you'll go deeper and it'll feel better. And they come in and they'd sit down and it was like almost out.
So, yeah, I do that kind of too when they're consciously awake and they're leaving, or
Mhm.
during the intake, and we'll do some stuff and say, hey, and every time you do this, you're going to get better and better and better at it. And you're
Yeah.
going to, so they expect to get better and go deeper.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't always do that, but I do that sometimes. And I've had those clients like, oh no, nobody can hypnotize me. I have too much anxiety.
Yeah.
So that's like the last thing you said was anxiety, and you didn't even finish it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, and what is your favorite client? What is your favorite niche to work with?
So I actually work probably the most with women that have suffered some kind of physical or emotional abuse. That's probably where I work with the most. A lot of my clients have been unfortunately assaulted in some way. Um, so I work with that, but also with just women who are, you know, feeling like they've lost themselves. They just don't know who they are anymore. They feel sad, they feel alone, and they don't know why. And this, they could be in a marriage and have kids, and they'll come in, they're like, I should be happy. I have a husband, I have who loves me, and I have kids, but I don't know what's going on with me. And I help them find themselves again and find their confidence and their beauty within and their resources within. That's why it says my company's resource therapy. It's because I help you find the resources within, you know,
So,
unlike,
yeah.
you know, a therapist who will tell you what's wrong with you. You and I together will figure it out. We'll
So,
find the
yeah,
resources within you. Yeah.
yeah, I don't ever tell anybody what's wrong with them,
Mhm.
just because, I have too much wrong with me for that. I mean, really, let's be honest. So, keep people, they just give me licenses and like, did anybody talk to this guy before we gave him the license? No, I gave it to him. Oh, we might want to interview him later. But yeah, you're right. That was the worst call for me when I still work in EMS a little bit, but when I
Mhm.
was running full time hard, it wasn't the stabbings or the shootings or all that stuff. I got used to that just
Yeah.
because, I'm not going to say the word, but I'm just an old medic. It was the look in a woman's eyes who had just gotten pummeled by her husband. That was just a depressing, crushing look. You can't
Yeah.
even describe it,
Nope.
per se. Yeah. But, and here's another question. You brought up finding themselves, and I'm going to ask you because this has been my experience. And I think it's a little bit, they don't want to, they're not like, I should be happy. They're like, look at him laying there looking dumb. How could I marry somebody so dumb? The magic age to me seems to be 33. And that's, I've had a lot of female clients come through the door at 33, realizing that, their significant other is never going to change. They're always out every weekend. They're mudding, they're drinking,
Mhm.
they're leaving with the kids, and it's their life isn't what they wanted. So they got attracted to that, and that just seems to be. Have you had that? Is that anything, or is that just me? So,
Well, I think it's a multitude of things. I think that does happen sometimes. I think society-wise, unfortunately, there's a thing that kind of happens where little boys watch their fathers from the past, like I would say my generation, sit and watch the game while mom is cooking,
yeah.
cleaning, doing everything. And so the men learn this lesson unconsciously that that's what happens with men, and women do everything. And women, little girls, I watched my mom do everything and my dad said, so I got that message as well. So I think that does happen sometimes, but I think there's a breakdown that happens within marriages and within relationships when you stop dating each other and you stop pursuing each other the same way you did when you first got together. And the moment you stop doing that is the moment that your relationship kind of falls apart. Like my husband and I, every year we sit down and we talk about our values for our personal self, like our values and our goals for ourselves. And then we talk about it, for our relationship. And then as a family, we do that every year where we kind of just go over what do we want our life to look like so that we don't break apart.
Oh, yeah. So excuse me, sorry. Still got something caught in my throat. But, that is excellent. If only my grandparents, because yeah, I watched my grandparents, growing up in a Scottish
Mhm.
family, and I will never forget the day my grandfather, retired. They were like, "Oh, mom, you get to spend all this time with dad now," and she just had this look on her face, and she's looking at him, she goes, "I
Yeah.
swear this is the conversation. I thought he'd be dead by now. Look at him over there. This is
Wow, that's a
bothering
really
me."
good accent.
Yeah, I thought the whole world spoke like this until I got to
Wow.
the 3rd grade.
Wow.
I but, yeah, that's why I sound like I'm recording something all the time because I was taught to speak like an American, to not have that
Oh.
accent. Henceforth, you're like, wow, people always go, "Dan really enunciates his words." But let's face it, nobody wants to come into the hypnotherapist's office and have him say, "All right, Papa Dean, see, we're going to reach around in there, see if we can. We'll get him out. He'll be fine. It's going to be not right. It's all right.
That's
Watch it. Just
amazing.
listen." So, do you use music in your?
Um,
I have a little Bluetooth guy.
okay. Sometimes
Yeah.
I do and sometimes I don't. It depends on what it is specifically that I'm doing. If the client is in my office, I do a whole world of different things. So,
Okay.
if they are in my office and they tell me a memory that was like, mom was baking cookies and it made me feel safe. Well, guess what candle I'm going to buy? That's going to have a cookie candle so you feel safe. I
Oh.
use aromatherapy. I use different noises. Like for example, my induction for the mall, there's no music in the beginning because I actually have chatter in the background. So it sounds like chaos. And then as they go down the escalator, it gets less noisy. And then it gets beautiful music starts to come on as they relax more. So it kind of just depends. I shift things around. And I'm literally, as I'm talking to the person, I'll be on my phone going like, chatter down, music up. I do stuff like that. Sometimes I'll use Alexa, but she has a tendency to hear and ask me questions, and I'll be like, shh, 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 shh. So,
So yeah, that is amazing. I I have a Bluetooth. I got apps on my phones, um, and I always have the music. I cheat. Mathematically in my
mhm.
mind, I know that we respond to music. I've not done aromatherapy, mostly because I'm a guy and I don't think I can bring myself to do it. So,
Yeah.
although that's probably a shortcoming on me as a therapist, if you think about it as a hypnotist, you're like, "You need to get over it. Buy a candle, Dan. You'll be all right. I promise
Candle,
you."
essential oils.
Well,
Maybe
something.
I'll send you a little diffuser and you can have it in your office. It's very relaxing. It makes the whole room smell so nice. And
No, yeah.
it clears out. I feel like sometimes it clears out the stress and the energy. Like if I've done a session with say a woman who unfortunately was abused as a child sexually, that's a lot to handle, both for me and for her to talk about that and to exchange that dialogue. And just having something soothing to kind of like be in the background helps, I feel like, hold the space a little bit.
So, yeah, that would be, I don't take that just because I think I have those triggers that I remember, women being abused, and not that
Mhm.
I'm, like, all weepy or something, but in my head, I think I start to lose track of where I'm gonna be at as within the client because of that.
Yeah.
So, but
Well,
here's another question.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we as practitioners, we have to take care of ourselves after we do something like that.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Here's the other question. Have you ever had a client walk through the door and you just look at him and go, "Oh, no. What was I seeing you for?"
I've had a client and I was clear that he was a sociopath across from me.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so this was back when I first started my practice. I had a huge German Shepherd, a white Shepherd, who usually actually came into the sessions with me and calmed everybody
mhm.
down, and she was great. She did not like this gentleman. Her and I both got the same views on it. She kept on showing her teeth, which she never did. And then he proceeded to tell me things that he wanted to do to other people, and I was like, Right. And
Yeah.
I just referred him. I said, you know what? That's beyond my qualifications. I cannot help you, but I would love to refer you. And I have people that I met in psychology class that now have their own practice. And I just have a nice day.
Yeah, that yes, bye. I had a similar situation, but I couldn't refer him. He had a
Mm,
client had come in, it was a male, it was talking about what he was doing to his girlfriend and how he wanted to do it, and he was using a particular word that started with the word "R," and I literally went, "Stop talking. Stop talk I am a paramedic. I am I have to report this. Stop
yes.
talking." And he wouldn't stop talking, so I had to call 911.
Yeah.
And
And you,
so, yeah,
yeah.
it's, like, really weird. It's like so, but, yeah, I don't know if he was a sociopath.
Mm.
Um, that would be I think that is your special thing right there. So, but you look fit. I think you could take him. So,
Well, I do volunteer as Wonder Woman sometimes. So
I've seen that. It's like, on the Facebook because 'cause we're Facebook friends, and I see her what
yeah.
she's doing stuff, and, yeah, it is a beautiful thing. Oh, hold on. Let's do this. Let's show that there. So, yes, they're throwing in the hands and the prayers for us, Paulette. I've gotta find some time to teach her basic hypnosis. She did really great for us there. Hi, Paulette, at the conference last year. So, that's my next task is to
I
teach
follow it.
Paulette hypnosis or basic hypnosis,
Yeah.
and then probably, yeah, do that. But
Mark Lakowski and I have been talking about forever of wanting to get together and put together like a seminar for people to learn this skill, this basic skill, and things like that, and then progress it up if they wanted to, or even do like a weekend retreat kind of thing where people get to learn how to just not only help themselves but help the people that they love. You know,
yeah, Mark, he's a great guy. I can't remember where I first met him, but
probably
he has
Heartland.
might be. I know
Yeah.
that he's presented twice at the Michigan Hypnosis Conference.
Mhm.
So, and just really great guy. Yeah, he's a lot of fun to be
Yeah.
around with. So I keep there's this other hypnotist that I think is really great, and she
Mhm.
does a lot of work, and I've been trying to convince her for years to be a presenter, and I'm just like, keep working on that.
I have never
That
presented, you know, it's funny because like I there's lots of corporations that's actually reached out to me and schools reached out to me
mm,
before, and I've never presented. I actually, before I became a hypnotherapist, I worked and I presented in corporate settings all the time and things like that. But I don't go to the hypnosis conference simply because at the time my daughter was too young and my husband travels so much. So it was like,
yeah,
it was too impossible to like find somebody to watch her so I could go. But now that she is about to turn 17, I
wow.
could probably start to leave her home alone, you know, and
So, yeah.
and
They
go.
Yeah, in a Scottish family, we got left alone at age 5. He'll be fine. It's gonna be alright.
Oh,
It's
yeah, us too. Wait,
yeah,
I'm a Gen Xer. It
yeah,
was like I was watching all of my siblings, like, you know, we always helped each other out. We went and did fun things. I remember bike riding to Tom Thumb for getting a hot dog and a slushie for $1.50. All of
yeah.
us just heading
Like,
out.
you remember that? You were like 6, you know how to scramble an egg. I got this.
You're fine. You're fine.
It's like yeah, now they're just like, "I can't" they have to read the instructions on the Pop-Tarts. Okay, I see where take it out of the package. I see where they're going with
Yeah.
this. But anyways, I think we're coming up on our time. We've actually gone over. This has been a really good, uh, interview that we're having a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
So, any closing things that you want to tell people? How can they get a hold of you? Obviously, we've talked about the
Um,
website, we talked about the book.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
so you can always friend me on Facebook, reach out me there, of course. And then on my website as well, you can email me or you can message me. And I would say that if you are somebody who's starting out in hypnosis, or even if you've had your practice for a really long time, I would say my templates would be a really good thing to check out because it's got so many tools in there for you to help your clients in between sessions. Because I think that's something that we need to do. Like it's so great that we do hypnosis within sessions and we give them recordings, but they are so much more reflective and they change faster when they're doing some work outside of your sessions together. So
that is true. So, and that is good advice. So, check out those templates, guys, and check out the journal. It's on Amazon. I got the link right up in there. I got her website up in there. So, we want to thank Angela for being here today and being a great guest and just having a lot of fun talking about stuff in the world of hypnosis. So,
yeah,
I'm scrolling up. You can see me. You can see me. I'm going for it. I'm clicking the stop button, guys.